Am I the asshole for failing a student on the last day of class? As a side gig, I teach once a week for a local university. The students come to the hospital where I work, and I teach them by doing direct patient care. They also have written assignments to complete, some for me in the clinical setting and some in the classroom. Most of the students I have are seniors, so college work is not new to them. This semester I have a student who just has a lack of motivation and puts in little effort. Her assignments are usually submitted late, but there is nothing in the syllabus that states they can't be turned in late for full credit. The students are also allowed to redo one failed assignment for full credit. She failed her first assignment and I have reminded her throughout the term that she has to redo it because it's a required assignment to pass the course. She shows up exactly on time or 2 to 3 minutes late for class. Their syllabus states that they must be on time for the clinical portion of class that I teach, or they will be sent home and their absence unexcused. I have not kicked her out when she's been 2 to 3 minutes late because it just seems petty. She has also missed a couple of classes that had to be made up with other clinical experiences to get her required hours. I've discussed this with her course professor and also with the student in her midterm evaluation. She missed her second to last clinical, and I reminded her that she would have to complete that final assignment at her last clinical to pass. She assured me she would. I had a conversation with her classroom professor who has also been frustrated with the student this term. She had just finally turned in an assignment that was 3 weeks late. I was annoyed by that because she ended up getting the same grade as students who completed it on time. Next semester the syllabus will specify points lost for late assignments. This hasn't historically been an issue. Her course professor had a conversation with her in class last week about her final clinical and that assignment absolutely having to pass or she fails the course. On the last day of clinical, all the students were there, dressed in scrubs, ready for patient rounds, on time. Except the student who walked in 3 minutes late and not dressed. I said, "You are late, and you are not ready. This is unprofessional. You need to leave immediately." So, my making her leave means she fails the course because there is no other chance to make it up, and it's final exam week. It also means it delays her graduation by at least 1 semester because she will have to retake that course and can't take a course next term that needs this one as a prereq. At the time I felt very justified in sending her home. She's been given several warnings and multiple breaks with late work. But now I'm feeling kind of like I might have been an asshole in kicking her out knowing it guaranteed her course failure when I've let her stay when she was late in the past. What do you think? Reddit. Edit. I've had a few comments where I've addressed this, and it should probably be added to the original post. I did discuss her tardiness with her several times. At the beginning of the term she was 2 to 3 minutes late every day. At first I said, "Be careful of your time." Then a more stern, "We start on time. You need to be dressed and ready to go by the start of clinical." But I was trying not to be a total hard ass over 2 minutes. At midterm I had to do a written evaluation of each student. I put on there that she was often tardy and needed to be on time. Those go in her file. I also filed an academic improvement plan which discussed her tardiness to clinical and those failed assignments. The AITA outlines future expectations which included being on time and turning in assignments. The AITA stays in her file and goes to her academic advisor. At that time I told her she had to be on time and ready for clinical or the next time she would be sent home. The only part where Op was the asshole is in not establishing expectations early and holding her to account. It's 100% her own fault, but letting her slide all semester and suddenly enforcing the rule on the last day feels like a trap. I'm sure it was a bit of a justice boner for the other students, but as the adult in the room, Op should have either corrected her behavior or failed her well before this point, rather than letting he step on a landmine the last day. This is college. They are all adults. By the time you're a senior in college you should understand that tardiness isn't okay. By the time you are teaching a college class, you should understand that your attendance policy is what you enforce. If you spend your whole semester allowing a student a free pass for tardiness, they are justified in being upset if you wait until the last day of class to fail them for attendance. Found the perennially tardy student who blamed everyone but themselves for their own behavior. Not the asshole. She was given multiple opportunities to make up work and spoken to many times. Patient care is not a place someone should be pity past. If she had an issue in her life, she should have spoken to you or other instructors. I actually did consider there might be something going on, and a few weeks ago gently suggested she consider dropping the course since she was in danger of failing. Her exam scores were low. She said nothing was going on, but she had been failing another course, so she was focusing all of her efforts there and not on obstetrics. I told her they are both required courses and she has to make sure she is passing both. Even if there was, I'm assuming she is of an age that she knows to address it with someone. OB is certainly not a course to risk passing someone. Not the asshole. Is she on course to be any kind of doctor, surgeon, or hospital work? She needs to learn at some point that she can't just make up her own schedule, preferably before people's lives are at stake. Everyone sucks here. She sucks and she should try harder, but you also enabled this behavior by letting her be late in the past. She could easily take this above your head, and then you'd have to explain why you never asked her to leave before when she had been late, except on the last day. It's petty. I agree with this take. The finish line was moved at the very end of the race. If she had showed up at her normal 2 to 3 minutes late, properly attired and ready to go, it sounds like it would have been fine. But she wasn't even in scrubs yet. So she wasn't 2 to 3 minutes late. She was more like 15 minutes late. The finish line wasn't moved, she just crashed and burned before the race even started. You're the asshole, but for me, it's because you did it on the last day on purpose. You said you didn't include point loss for late assignments in your syllabus, so you can't enforce that rule. And while she was late, she's been routinely late, and you didn't send her home then. And you should have. By doing it now, you were punishing her, not educating her. I promise she didn't go home and think, wow, I shouldn't have been late so often to that class, or I should have tried harder. She went home thinking you're an arbitrary ass. If you'd sent her home once or twice before, this might have been justified. But it was just petty to do it now. I get what you are saying, which is definitely why I'm asking AITA to clear a couple things up. I did tell her at midterm that she'd been late a few times and the next time she would be sent home. This was her first late day since then. She missed the previous week, had been on time the rest since midterm. I didn't write the syllabus, the course professor did. We've never had an issue with students not turning in work before. Again, seniors. Next semester there are consequences for late work because of this student. I really didn't like doing it because it was the last class, but I felt like if I didn't, after I told her to be on time, it set a bad example for the students that were consistently on time. Not the asshole. You have a job to do, and she has hers. She did not meet the requirements. Also, given that it is a medical program, a person with that mindset should not be involved with patient care. Pushing her through could have had some consequences for a future patient. Hopefully she understands why this happened and either learns from it or picks a new profession to pursue. Not the asshole. I taught a semester microbiology course at a local community college after moving to a new location, just temporary until I found other work. It was for pre-nursing students, actually the last science course they needed in order to apply to local programs. I was a fair teacher, told them all exactly what would be on the final in terms of categories of learning, including serial dilutions, a fairly simple math to determine bacterial counts. We practiced it in lab and class. Take home non-graded homework. They knew it would be 20% of the final. I even had open office hours to walk everyone through it until they could do it sleeping. I still had 1/4 fail that question and 1/6 fail the class. I got called into the administration. We can't have that level of failing. I said if someone going into nursing can't handle basic math involving dilutions, then they shouldn't be passing. Others failed lab work and MACUP opportunities on sterile technique. I walked away and told the administrator they could do whatever they wanted, but I wasn't coming back. And I hope those students didn't infect or kill anyone in the future. Everyone sucks here. She's tough for obvious reasons. You're tar because you were willing to put up with a certain behavior the entire semester, which sends the message that it's something students can get away with and then arbitrarily crack down on it on the final day because you were frustrated with her. A certain level of consistency is important with teaching. I'm not encouraging you to send students home for being 2 minutes late. That strikes me as a little harsh, but enforce the strict attendance policy or don't. The final class is wait till late to change your approach. Also, don't be a slave to the syllabus. It didn't explicitly say that late assignments will be penalized. Okay, but did it say that late assignments can be turned in at any point for full credit? If you need to alter something that may not be spelled out in the syllabus, that's fine. Just make sure to give the class some warning. Not the asshole. You also need to be more strict as you're letting this girl walk all over you and your generosity. Also, I agree the syllabus should state if it's late you lose X points, and after X days it's an automatic 0. That will be on next semester's syllabus for sure. 5% for every day late. I've already requested the course professors add it. Not the asshole. She's behaved unprofessionally all semester. She shouldn't pass. Somebody once told me the world is gonna roll me. I ain't the sharpest tool in the shed. She was looking kind of dumb with her finger and her thumb in the shape of an L on her forehead. Well, the years start coming, and they don't stop coming. Fed to the rules, and I hit the ground running. Didn't make sense not to live for fun. Your brain gets smart, but your head gets dumb. So much to do, so much to see. So what's wrong with taking the back streets? You'll never know. If you don't go, you'll never shine. If you don't glow, hey now, you're an all-star. Get your game on. Go play, hey now, you're a rock star. Get the show on. Get paid and all that glitters is gold. Only shooting stars break the mold. It's a cool place and they say it gets colder. You're bundled up now. Wait till you get older. But the meteor men beg to differ, judging by the hole in the satellite